It's Thursday. It's Mark Pyers.
I was walking down
And it's At The Brink.
another way.
I'm here
My mind and
to ease my mind and help my living.
cars driving next to
It's At The Brink, the longest running show on earth, 1,410 days in a row. And today we're getting into it again. So if you haven't, follow, subscribe, share, and let's do something special for this next couple minutes. The real estate market. What's it looking like going into 2023? I'm a real estate agent. That's what I do to make a living. So I've been really looking at it from all angles. And we're going to start diagnosing, dissecting, and also providing tips for anybody who's out there looking to buy or sell real estate. So, the market as it stands today, I felt as soon as the election was over, it's going to have a complete shift. I don't know if it's going to or not, but I do believe we're on a path towards a more normal market, which means homes will sell in 30 to 60 days, and there'll be less bidding wars, and people will have to reduce prices, the typical market that we're all used to seeing. The thing is, we're kind of in a bit of a bubble here in my part of the country. I'm in the Northeast, and here we have, I guess you would just say, very limited inventory. And when you don't have a lot of property to sell, and there's still a normal amount of buyers out in the marketplace, you're going to still see bidding wars. You're going to still see properties going over asking price, which is kind of counterintuitive considering that everything's been telling you on the news and the rates are telling you, hold up for a minute. Don't go out there and buy. But I've heard stories way before I was a realtor that rates were 18% in the 80s. 18%. And I know I bought my first house and it was about almost 7%. Right now we're almost at 7% again. So it's not that bad. I know it was 2 point whatever like a year ago, less than that. I get it. But this is kind of more of a normal market. And I would say it could go up to 8 or 9. It could. They're continuing to push because the inflation hasn't gotten any better. So they're going to keep raising the rates. And that means that you'll start seeing 7.5. You'll start seeing 8. So I would say this. If you're out there, you're considering buying a home. This is still your moment. It's now shifted into a buyer's market. You are going to deal with some bidding wars, especially in my part of the country, or you may be in a part of the country too. You're like, yeah, there's only 3 houses in this price point. For example, Wilton, Connecticut. I did Get to Know America, Get to Know Wilton, Connecticut, and I was just looking today at the market, and there's only 30 properties on the market. 30. And of those 30, 10 of them are already in contract. It's crazy. Zabrowski, can we get a woohoo to take us into this real estate segment? Throwing it to you. Woohoo! That was a good one. Zabrowski, 8.4. No, be happy with it. He's like, really? Yeah, really. So guys, the market, how is it in your neck of the woods? I want to hear from you guys. If you can, shoot me a little note and let me know, how is the supply where you live? Is there a lot of property on the market, or do you see signs everywhere, or is it like there's nobody listing their homes? Here's the other flip side. A lot of people bought in less than 7. They bought in 3, 4. So they don't want to sell their homes and now be buying back in at 7. Do you understand? So you've got this weird time in history where less than a year ago, people were buying, refinancing at 2.75, maybe even a little lower. And now we stand at almost 7%. So anybody who cashed in, refinanced, did any of that in the last couple of years is sitting, and they're not going to sell. So what you have now is people who are still sitting on the 6, 7s, maybe even, they bought in at 5.5 at some point. And those people will start moving their properties. But you got to move fast, because what we're seeing is a steep decline in pricing, but not, again, where these lower inventory areas are. We're still seeing this anomaly where prices are still high. Now, not everything's selling, but the stuff that's selling is doing well. So, what did we learn? Real estate is hyper local. It's not like regional. It's not town. It's literally hyper local. It's within the town. There's so many different variables. Even where I live right now, you've got downtown. You've got what's called Greenfield Hill. You've got the beach. There's so many different areas. Black Rock is, you've got so many different areas to every town, and everything has its own value. So you have to find yourself a really good real estate agent. That is the best thing you could do for yourself. Rely on somebody else who has the information or can get the information for you, and somebody who is an expert at negotiating and working with the other agents in the marketplace. I always put this out there just so people understand. Anybody who's in finance, for example, I wouldn't go and get a Scotts-Trade account, or you know what I mean, and start buying stocks. I have no idea about stocks. Oh, I got a tip from a guy. No, I'd find somebody who works in that market, who understands finance, understands how to grow $1 into $2. And that's who you give your money to. We don't go Wild Westing it. And if you are out there Wild Westing it in the real estate market, you really have a lot to learn, because you only buy or sell a home every 7 years, maybe every 10 years, maybe every 3 years. It doesn't matter. You don't do it every day. You don't know every question to ask. Oh, I could watch a YouTube video. Yeah, you could. Or you can go to somebody who understands it and knows how to speak the language and get you the deal that you need. One of the things that I'm trying to start taking more of advantage of is referrals. We have this network at Berkshire Hathaway where I could find any agent for you anywhere in the country, and it costs you $0 to at least interview these agents. And if you like the agent and you use them, you're not paying any more. You're paying the same amount as you'd pay Jim Bob from some other firm. This is how it works. You basically, wherever, depending on where you are in the country, you're paying either 5% or 6% for your sale. So you're going to sell your house, and at the end, you're going to take 5% off and give it to the real estate agents. Now, how that works is the two agents split the money, 50-50. So you have 2.5% or 3%. Let's just go to make it easier, 3% and 3%. Of that 3%, a referral fee comes off, 25%. So 25% of the 3% would go to yours truly if you send me the lead. That is a huge amount of money for me and my family. I've been doing this for 4.5 years every single day. So if you ever need to buy or sell real estate, do me a huge favor and reach out to me. I will take very good care of whoever it is that you have out there. I will find you a great agent to interview. You don't even have to use them. But if you do, it's going to wind up benefiting the show, benefiting me. And I would highly appreciate it. It's something, I know this one agent who never goes into the office. Every year she's a top agent in Darien, Connecticut. You know what she does? She just sends out referrals. She sends out like 20 referrals a year, and they close. Because every 4 referrals is 1 transaction. And that blew my mind. I came to that the other day. I'm like, geez, if I could just send 4 referrals out, that's me doing 1 transaction myself. If this show would act properly and we could actually grow and get people to say, anytime I'm ever buying or selling real estate, I'm calling Mark. Mark's the real estate guy. And I just set you up with agents all over the country. They do a great job for you. When they trade a property for you and you get what you want, they get paid, and then they send a referral fee. And that is how this show should have gone for 4.5 years. But I have to now make sure that that's what you guys at least know. That's how I can actually earn a living for doing this show, is you guys can help me do that. And it doesn't cost you anything either. All you're doing is sending over a lead. All you're doing is saying, hey, I have a friend, Bill, who wants to sell his house. And I said, you know what, before you call into this real estate office, why don't you call my friend Mark and see if he could help? And I will. And they'll at least have a chance to interview 1 more qualified agent. I'll tell you what I'm looking for always in an agent if I'm going to try to find someone to send to you or to one of your friends, I'm looking for somebody who understands how to hustle and also understands that the only way to get the most money for your friend, if they want to sell their house, for example, is to open it up to the deepest pool of qualified buyers. And so how you do that is you basically, well, I mean, really in 2022, every real estate firm does the same thing when it comes to advertising and marketing their properties. On the surface, they blast it out. It's out there. It's everywhere. It's on every platform, on Zillow, on Realtor.com. It's now, they have this new, it's a program that we all have access to, that they go and they send it out on Facebook, and then all of a sudden you have leads coming to you through Facebook. So there are so many different tools out there for realtors and for real estate offices, and everybody's working on a very similar ground. The difference is the person who you're dealing with. The difference is, can they negotiate for you? Are they going to give away your money? I'll tell you one quick story. I went in for a listing. I was 2 years into this business. I wore a suit every single day for about 10 years. And I worked for 358 days a year. Took 7 days off. I wore a suit every single day for 358 days a year for 10 years. I used to have a client who'd walk and he'd try to catch me not wearing it like midsummer. It's like, I'm sweating face. You know, I'm sitting there like working at my desk, sweating bullets. And he comes walking, looking around the corner. Oh, I thought I'd catch you not wearing your suit. I said, Jeff, I have my suit on because if that phone rings right there, I'm ready to go. Jeff was awesome. So I go on this listing call, and I just invested in drone technology. This is 2013. And I got this drone, and I'm really excited because nobody else had thought of it yet. And so I was getting, I was just like amped about this. And Jeff, the same guy I was telling you about, reached out to the paper, who got in touch with Channel 12 and Fox News in Connecticut and NBC in Connecticut. And for a full year, I was all over the news as the guy who created drone technology or brought it to Fairfield, Connecticut, to Fairfield County. So I've got a plaque over here I could show you. I've shown you before, but 2013, it's October. I'm on Fox News. They came in for Fox News Connecticut, and Jim Altman came in and he did this awesome piece where they caught my drone flying, and we were calling it a quadcopter because the FAA was like fining people at the beginning, and I was like, FAA, I don't charge. I just provide the service, free of charge. You hire me to list your home, and I'm giving you more. I'm not only there to show the home off and to do a tour for you, which is I do for every property, but then I'm also shooting drone footage for you multiple times so I can incorporate it into the marketing. And so I start doing this, but not charging anything. If I sell your house, I get paid, for my service. I'm doing what I do. So I go into this house, and I'm sitting down, and I brought in a big stack of paperwork, and I brought in my drone. I put them both down. I said, well, we'll go through the paperwork first, or we could fly the drone. And they're like, let's fly the drone. So we go outside, and I flew the drone around, showed them how it works. And we go back inside. We have a great conversation. I go back and I sit down again. There's three of us. Now, we're all meeting at different times, but I know there's three of us. They told us that the moment I walked in. They said, look, we're interviewing 3 people. So I go back in, and I find out that, first of all, it's me against this lady who's very qualified at the best firm in town. Like, there's this one firm that was like, everybody's like, that's the firm. And I was like, I don't want to be at that firm because everybody tells me that's the firm. No, I'm sorry. I'm here to create my own path. So I was at Coldwell Banker, and that one was called Brotherhood and Higley. Anyway, so this lady was very well qualified from Brotherhood. And so I go in, and the other person that they're up against, that we're up against, is the agent that they bought the house with. The agent that they bought the house with. By the way, he's like top 1 or 2 in town, like 2 in town. You know what I mean? Top 5 in town. And so basically, I'm in there thinking to myself, like, there's a chink in the armor for a split second, because I'm like, okay, they bought with this agent, and he's one of the top agents in town. I'm like, man, I want to be one of the top agents in town. I'm in for 2-3 years at the time. Like, I'm going to be one of the top agents in town. But right now, I'm the guy who created, brought the drone, and I think there is no box. Everybody wants to think outside there is no freaking box. That's how I feel. And so, anyway, for a split second, I'm like, geez, I'm probably not getting this because they bought the house with this agent who's a top agent. And I said, almost in a way, I was like, well, then F it. You know what I mean? If that's the case, I'm putting it all out there. I'm going to show them why they shouldn't work with him or with her and why they don't want me to walk out that door. And so I sat down in front of them and I said, this is, they asked me what my commission was, and I came right out, this is what I charge. And they said, well, can you do it for less or whatever? And they had like a figure, can you do it for? And I said, no, I'm sorry. And I said, first of all, anybody who sits in front of you and says they're willing to take less, how are they going to treat a buyer when your offer comes in and you get this offer you're not happy with? They're going to freaking push you to take the offer because they're willing to take less for themselves. Then that means they're willing to take less for you. And I'm like, yeah, that's very true. They're like, what's interesting is, and this is where it blew my mind. They said the agent we bought the house with came in, and before we even said a word, he goes, I could do it for 4%. He came in and he offered up his commission before even he didn't even have a conversation with them and allow them to bring it up and then fight for his money. He gave up his money because he's a numbers guy. It's just, look, if I get 50 listings, I'm going to sell 20 of them. I don't give a crap what they get. That's how people like this think. Look, I'll take 4 because I don't freaking care. I got 20 properties. And when I sell 3 of them and I push this person to say yes to something, and I don't know if that happens, but I just think that seems like if you're willing to take less for your, curiously, you're not willing to take less for your client and push them to take something that is not what they really could get. And like I said, that's the way I see it, only because as my moral freaking compass starts to push me in a direction, I see to myself that, you got a fiduciary duty to your client to get them the most money, to have their back, to make sure they're never pushed around by the other side. And so I walked in, I sat down, and we had a conversation, and they said, we immediately dismissed him. And I'm like, top agent in town, sold them the house, and he was the first one dismissed. That, I was like, and when that happened, I was like, I got this. Because I know at the end of the day, most people want somebody who thinks differently. If they're trying to sell their home, they don't want some cookie cutter idea when they have something unique, or when they want to splash the market and get a really big impact and have people look. And so the difference between what I would say most people are trying to provide and what I want to provide is that impact. I want to create the impact with some sort of powerful cinematic event. And then that's going to lead us to more and get us the buyer or potentially more sellers. So it's a lot. It's a mouthful. But I would say you could probably tell I do love real estate. I really do. When I start speaking about it, I get very passionate about it because I care about my clients. When I came up with Affect a Positive Change one person at a time, that was before the show became. That was when I was just all focused on showing up to talk about, different ways to stay motivated to sell real estate and to not get down in a really bad market. We were in such a bad market when I started this show. It wasn't until a year and a half later that we had the pandemic and everything changed. But before that, it was extremely hard to sell real estate. And I fear that those days are coming again. And that's why I started Get to Know America. We got to get to know these towns and be reminded when we're trying to decide where to buy. Oh, that looks like a cool place. I didn't know it had that feature. That's some pretty cool history there. So I do hope to get back into that at some point, but right now we're going to be focused on trying to give you guys good real estate advice. And remember, the referral thing is very, very powerful, and it's something that's a huge way you can give back to this show. You don't have to, it doesn't cost you anything. It just is a little effort of sending or passing along information. You could even say to your friend, hey, Bill, do you mind if Mark reaches out to you? Sure, here's my email. Here's my phone number. I'll call Bill. In fact, if you want to get on the call and we can have a chat, because I do obviously really appreciate when you guys think of me like that. And we do have to do more Zoom calls like that where we all chat. But for now, keep those little details in mind. Keep that in the back of your mind next time you're at a cocktail party. Somebody's talking about real estate. I watch a show, Guy's a Real Estate Agent. You should check it out. Until tomorrow, Renee Woods, Pamela Swan, MJ in the house, Wharton, Bradley Smith, Trish Killian. Let's see, MJ. Oh, I'm so happy to see you guys. I appreciate you so much. I hope tomorrow we can get into it a little bit more. Oh, my brother Tommy from the Lifeboat. Awesome stuff. Oh, Chelly. You guys are awesome. Stacy Michaels, Anna Treos. Unbelievable, guys. Tomorrow, day 1411. Make sure you reach out. If you need anything, if you have any questions about real estate, how about this? Leave me a question leave me a comment right after this video, okay? Leave me a comment with your best real estate question, and I'm going to handle all of them tomorrow, okay? Your best real estate question. What makes you different? Whatever. Little things that you would ask if you were a homeowner or if you were a buyer. And I'll take them and we'll read through them one by one tomorrow and I'll answer them for you. This is going to be a new thing. We're going to start interacting more. So if that means opening up the chat window or the comment window from last night's show every single night to go through all the comments and read them off, we're going to start doing that. So best real estate comments. You could say something else within the message as well, but leave a comment, like, share, and I will see you tomorrow. Until then, it's Mark Pyers. At the brink. I love you guys. See you tomorrow. You got to go away. Have a great night. Till tomorrow. You got to go away.